Here's a question I want to start with. How are you able to imagine things in your mind? Let's take a little journey together. Imagine you're driving up Brook Street and you're trying to get to the Fawn's Arch by the main green. And as you get close to campus, you encounter construction, roadwork, blocking your path. I mean, this is Providence after all. You stop and you start to think, maybe I could turn right here, get onto a parallel street, head up a few blocks. Oh, no, but you know what? That's actually not so great because there's a bunch of one-ways and dead ends there. Let me think. Maybe I go left here. That takes me to Prospect. I can head north on Prospect, hit Waterman, turn right, and then there you go. I'm at the Fawn's Arch. Now, incredibly, all of this happens entirely inside your head. You can simulate potential paths and seem able to visualize them. Crucially, these mental simulations, if you will, they allow you to imagine, often in vivid visual detail, how things might unfold so as to solve everyday problems. And so for this reason, mental simulation is probably one of the most advanced and sophisticated cognitive capacities available at your disposal. Now, as a neuroscientist, that makes me curious about two things. One, I want to know what's going on in your brain when you carry out these mental simulations. And two, I'm curious about whether this ability is uniquely human. So that's what my research in our lab focuses on. Now, at this stage, you might be wondering, how do you even study mental simulation in a lab? Well, to do so, I have designed a simple cognitive task that is capable of prompting somebody to carry out a simulation. Here's how it works. Using computer software, I can design displays like this one, comprised of a ball at the top, several randomly arranged obstructors scattered throughout the middle, and then two catchers at the bottom, one on the left, one on the right. And the way it works is that I show people displays like this, and I ask them, if I were to drop that ball right now, which catcher do you think it's going to land into, left or right? The idea being that one could potentially simulate the ball's trajectory in order to arrive at the answer, not unlike the simulation you and I carried out together to get to the Fawn's Arch. And I know there's probably a couple of you in the audience who are itching for me to drop this ball right now so you can see where it lands. But guess what? You don't actually need me to do that because you can figure it out for yourself through simulation. Once I have trained somebody to do this task, I ask them to perform it while lying inside an MRI scanner. And I can use this MRI machine to not only look at the structure of their brain, I can also measure patterns of neural activity in their brain as they are doing this task. Looking at this neural activity, what I find is that when people attempt to simulate the ball's trajectory, their brains respond as if they were in fact literally seeing the ball fall, even though when they carry out the simulation, the ball is not in fact falling. And what that means is that sort of vivid envisioning feeling that you can perhaps relate to, where you feel like you can see in your mind's eye the thing that you're simulating. Well, you feel that way because that's actually what's going on in your brain. This brings me then to the second question. Is this ability uniquely human? And to tackle this, I tried to train rhesus macaque monkeys, not unlike this guy right here, to also do the same ball falling task. And to be quite honest, when I first started, I was pretty skeptical and I didn't really think that they would be able to learn it. And much to my surprise, not only can monkeys do the ball fall task, but they're actually pretty good at it. And so that has given me a very rare and unique opportunity to look at the neural activity in their brains in a non-invasive way by having them do this task while lying inside the MRI scanner. And that brings me to what I think is the best part. Just like with humans, when monkeys attempt to simulate the ball's trajectory, their brains also respond as if they were literally seeing the ball fall, even though, once again, all they have to do is predict where it's going to end up. And the reason that I think that is so exciting is that it essentially provides biological evidence for the fact that monkeys can envision potential futures, and it situates this cognitive ability of ours in the context of its evolutionary history. But at the end of the day, why does any of this really matter? Well, I talked earlier about how simulation is such a sophisticated cognitive ability that we have, but there's also a flip side, where in conditions like schizophrenia or PTSD, people's simulations of the world, they become hyper vivid and triggered involuntarily to the point where they manifest as hallucination. How do we help people experiencing these conditions? Research like this that looks at the neural mechanisms of cognitive phenomena and bridge those mechanisms between humans and animals, they laid the foundation for clinical research looking at devising and testing therapies for people who experience simulation in a dysfunctional way. So future avenues like this and more are made possible by the research that I have shared with you today. And all we have to do now is simulate a path to the answers. Thank you.